Good afternoon, everybody. I hope that everybody's having a good afternoon. It's been a very good day here. We got a little rain. Hope everybody is doing well. So today we're going to talk about the DW80M 2020 dishwasher. As I always like to start with, I want to thank Encompass. Excuse me. I want to thank Encompass for having me. I'm glad that everybody has a place where we can go and go ahead and talk and converse. This training class is for, like I said, the DW80M 2020. Okay. Once again, as we all talk about every time that I am on here, please, if you don't have a good stocking program, this is one of the things that you have got to have to keep your business running smoothly, is a stocking application. Okay. This application from Encompass is called Easy Stock. This Easy Stock application allows me to keep track of all of my parts so that I know where they are located. Okay. It doesn't do me any good if I ride out to the house and I say, okay, I need let's say it's a dishwasher. I need a float switch. Okay. So I go in, go to customer's house. I do need a float switch. I go out to my truck. If I have no parts system, it is going to take me forever to figure out where my float switch is at. Okay. Even though I was a technician for 15 years. Okay. We didn't have this system whenever I was there. I knew that I had a couple of these on my truck, but the problem was finding it. This system allows me to tabulate and keep track of all of my parts. Okay. If I have a few parts that that I don't keep in my truck. Let's say it's a compressor. Okay. I don't keep a compressor in all my trucks. It may be at the shop, but I want to make sure that I've got it. This part right, this Easy Stock program will tell me where it is and if anybody has it. And if I have more than one truck, maybe it's on a truck and the guy has it on his truck and we can meet up and exchange parts. Okay. It's a great tool. I'm just telling you, it doesn't cost you a dime. Number one, it costs nothing. The only thing it costs you is for you to have an account with Encompass. Encompass has done everything that they can to take care of the technician. That is one thing that I can truly say about Encompass. Some of your other parts manufacturers, they talk the game, but they talk the talk, but they don't walk the walk. Okay, Encompass walks the walk. If you have never used this program or don't know anything about it, you can go and download it just like it says right there on the QR code right there. You can scan that, and it will take you to, if you're an Apple person, and scan the Apple one. If you're a Google person, scan the Google one, and you can definitely go ahead and you can start checking it out and looking at it. Like I said, you have to have an account to get it all to work properly. But this will actually allow me to scan my inbound orders. Okay, it allows me to access Encompass parts to see if Encompass has the part in stock. If I don't have it on my truck, it allows me to receive alerts that I need to. Hey, you need to order this part. You're running low on the stock quantity. It's a great tool. I'm telling you, if I wish that I had this whenever I had my business, it would have made things so much easier for me. If you don't know anything about it, you can go to YouTube. Excuse me. If you don't know anything about it, go to YouTube and type in Easy Stock. It will bring up the Easy Stock program for Encompass. It's great. I would tell you to please at least check it out. Okay, like I said, I don't make any money on this. Encompass doesn't make any money. Well, they sell you a few extra parts, but this doesn't cost me anything. I would be foolish not to do it. Okay, so today we're going to start, and we're going to talk with begin everything with is going to be the model nomenclature. We're going to go through fault codes. We're going to quickly go through the wiring schematics, the wiring diagrams, however you want to talk about it or call it. We're going to go through some quick checks, and then common disassembly procedures. Okay. One of the things that I really like about this dishwasher is that it has a flood sensor in it. Okay. It's built into the bottom of it. If I have a slow leak for something, let's say that for some reason my water valve started leaking, it will actually sense it and it will shut the machine off. It will put the unit into a drain. This also could be one of the problems. I have had a customer that called me and said, "Hey, listen, my dishwasher comes on in the middle of the night." Okay, the dishwasher is not coming on. What's actually coming on is that he had a slow leak and he had to go out and find it. Okay, so whenever we get into the disassembly procedures, I'm going to go through this again. The first thing that I always tell everybody that I have ever known, safety first. Okay. Always unplug the dishwasher. If I'm going to work on something, I am going to unplug it. Okay. Today's dishwashers, most of them have a plug under the sink. If you got an old dishwasher like there is at my house, I don't have a plug and it's hardwired. Okay. But you have to know where that is and you have to turn that off. Please do not work on anything that is hot. Okay. Especially if there's any water that you could get in, you could put a hand in it or an arm in it. And lo and behold, you get shocked. 120 volts won't release you. It will sit there and fry you. Okay. 220, 240, 308, those all knock you off. Okay. 120 grabs a hold. It does not want to let go. And if I have somebody that I'm getting shocked and I reach down and grab that person without having some kind of insulated material, I am going to get shocked also. Okay. Please be very careful whenever you are working around anything that's 120 volts and especially that has water associated with it. Okay. So we're going to go through the fault codes, the wiring diagrams, the quick checks, and the common disassembly procedures. Okay. With today's dishwasher, okay, number one, the heating elements are not as hot as they used to be. You could melt plastics putting them on the bottom. Today you can still kind of melt them if it's too close or if it drops down, you can still melt a plastic, but it's nothing like it used to be. Whenever I first started in this business in 1978, there was a dishwasher on the market. There was a commercial type dishwasher, and it was from a manufacturer called Hobart, otherwise known as KitchenAid. Okay, these were high-end dishwashers, and they were great dishwashers. Okay, today Hobart was bought out from Whirlpool bought out the KitchenAid brand, and they kind of reduced the quality. The problem is not the KitchenAid quality. It's not an Electrolux quality. It's not a Samsung quality. It's not an LG quality. The problem is the federal government got involved in this, and now we don't have the good detergents that we used to have because they contain phosphorus. We don't have everything is energy consumption today. So the dishwasher, they've taken everything out that they could possibly take out, and so you're going to get complaints about not cleaning dishes. Dishes are wet. Takes too long to wash the dishes. Dishes were dirty when I take them out of the dishwasher. A loud noise when the dishwasher is running. Goes into the drain cycle at odd times. Okay, these are all common problems with dishwashers today. It's not just the Samsung dishwasher. This one just happens to be the one that we're discussing today. Most of the dishwashers today have all of these problems. Okay. Does anybody have any questions before we head into the basics of this dishwasher? Okay. We're going to go ahead. So let's talk about the nomenclature. So what does this happen? What happens? So in this model right here, the DW stands for dishwasher. The 80, okay, that tells me that that's a 24-inch tall machine. Okay. The M, if you scroll down, it tells you that it was manufactured in 2017. Then I have the two. The two, if you scroll down, it says it's the value model. Then I have a 0. Okay. The 0 is a rotary. Okay. The 2 again, if you go down, it's a good. The 0 again is basic. U stands for under the counter. The S stands for stainless steel. Okay. Then there's the slash, and it has the US nomenclature after it. Okay. So that's what you do whenever I'm looking to know what this tells me. This is exactly what it tells you. I will tell you that this will actually be posted to the excuse me, I almost said Samsung. You have to pardon me because I did work for Samsung for about 3 years. For the Encompass University website, you can go and you'll be able to find this on the Encompass University website. Okay. So let's talk about cycle times. Okay. Like I said, today's dishwasher, if you look right here, this one does have an auto pre-wash. One, it has an auto pre-wash. Two, the main wash. You look at this, the main wash with auto that runs somewhere between 118 and 135 degrees Fahrenheit. Okay, that is not super hot. If I use the last Sani rinse, okay, I get somewhere between 144 and 159 Sani rinse temperature. That is not super hot. Okay, this is in the auto cycle. If I go to dry, we go to 110 to 135 minute cycle time. Okay, this unit uses in the auto cycle. It uses 3 to 6 gallons. Okay. If I go to the normal, which I don't use the normal, I either use auto or heavy. I very rarely use express, and I very rarely use normal. I'm looking at my dishes, and with today's dishwasher, I'm going to go with either the heavy or the auto cycle. That's just me. Okay. But let's talk about the heavy cycle. Okay. I get 2 pre-washes. I get a main wash. If you look, the main wash is the higher temperature. Okay. It's 131 degrees Fahrenheit. It has 2 rinses. Actually, it has 3 rinses. And then it has the Sani rinse at the end, which brings it up to somewhere between 149 and 159 degrees Fahrenheit for the Sani rinse. Okay. I have one drying cycle, and it uses 6 gallons of water, and it takes it 140 minutes. Okay. Here's the thing. Most people, whenever they do their dishwasher, they put the dishes in, they throw the either a packet, or they fill it up with dishwashing detergent, close the door, turn it on, and walk away. Okay. One of the things that you need to remember if you are doing service on a dishwasher and you have, hey, this thing is taking a long time to heat up, my pre-wash, okay, that's why my pre-wash is 140 minutes. Part of it is because it has to come in and raise the water temperature, because coming off to the sink, you don't have hot water exactly to the dishwasher. So I'm going to require it to heat up a little more. Okay, like I said, the higher model dishwashers, this cycle that says 140 minutes on their heavy, it can get up to. My dad jokingly said that his KitchenAid takes about 6 hours for it to go through the cycle. Okay. So just remember that it's dependent upon several different things. Number one is what the water temperature coming into the dishwasher is. Okay. Number two, it tries to maintain that cycle where it keeps stuff warm. These are, like I said, the basic. Then you have the optional steps. So just remember that depending on which cycle you use, okay, like the Express, it is only a 60-minute cycle. So it takes me an hour to wash the dishwasher load. Okay. One of the things that everybody's concerned about today is the time that it takes and how much it's costing me for the water and the temperature. The dishwasher consumes about in a household configuration. Your refrigerator is the first thing in it. Actually, the first thing in it is your heating and air. Your second thing is your refrigerator. The third one is depending on which model hot water heater you have, could be the hot water heater. On down the road, a little bit farther down is your dishwasher. Okay, so tell the customer to run them at night. Most electric bills, if I'm after 6 o'clock, my energy consumption drops down because it's not as many people using it. Okay, so let's look. This one does not have a display that tells me fault codes. Okay, so if I look at the display, if I get an express light and I haven't mashed it, okay, when the non-water switch doesn't work in the wash step at the pre-wash phase, okay. So if I'm trying to press it and it's trying to get it to come on and the express light's on, what does it tell me? Okay, the water supply pressure is low. The supply valve is closed. Non-working switch is broken. The wash pump doesn't work, and the main PCB may have problems. That is exactly what that could possibly have your issue. Okay, so I know that right now I need to go check all of these other problems before I start doing anything else, because that's what that means for my fault code. Okay, so if my heavy light is on, when the heavy light is on for 5 seconds, 5 times, when the high water float switch is on for 120 seconds, it's when I get this light. Okay, tells me that the high water float switch is broken. The water valve is always open. It cannot be closed. And the main PCB may be having problems. That's what it means whenever I come in and I have this issue. Okay. If I have both the heavy light and the express light on, okay, this is when it's continually heating for 60 minutes and it has not yet reached the acceptable water temperature. Okay. So it could be that the water heater is broken. Could be the thermistor is not working properly, or it could be that the main PCB board is having issues. Okay, you need to go and check those parts. That's what I'm going to check first if I find that this is my problem. Okay, this is my code display. Okay, if something happens and the normal light is lit, okay, the water leakage sensor data is equal to less than 3 volts for 3 seconds. Okay, so what it's telling me is that it does, number one, my sensor doesn't detect a problem. It detects a problem, and it tells me that it is not detecting the pulse. That tells me that it has a float issue. Okay, the water valve could not be working. The overflow sensor is broken, which is what we were talking about. And then there is a water leakage. Okay, so whenever I am talking to a customer, one of the questions that I personally would ask the customer is, okay, can you do me a favor? Can you open your door? Is your normal light lit? Okay. If that's the problem, then I know that I probably want to take me a float switch with me. All right. I want to take me a overflow sensor. I'm sorry, not a float switch. I would definitely make sure that may take the water valve with me. Take the overflow sensor. I always kept a water valve on my fast moving parts, which usually the water valve is one of them. Okay, so I'm gonna go and I'm gonna check through and find all of these. Okay, if I have the normal light and the heavy light on, okay, the thermistor is in an open circuit failure. Okay, so I am going to go and I'm going to check the thermistor. I'm going to run it through the test. I'm going to ohm it out and see what kind of what kind of ohms I get. It could be that it's not the thermistor itself. It could be that I could have a problem with the PCB board. Okay, if the PC board is bad, I will also get that. So I need to go down and check it. Okay. Number one, I'm going to check the thermistor with the power off. Number two, I will not go in and I'm going to turn the power off. I can get down to my board and take that apart, and I can then turn the power back on and see if I'm getting power to see if what I'm reading at the board. Okay. Once again, you have to be very careful. Okay. Number one, the thermistor wire is a DC volt wire. Okay. It's not an AC volt. So you need to be looking on the DC side, not on the AC side. Okay. Whenever I have 3 lights, the normal light, the heavy light, and the express light all on, okay, it has a short circuit failure. So what I would do is it's one of 2 problems. The thermistor is either broken, it's not working, or the PCB is not detecting a pulse. So it could be either the thermistor or the board. So I'm gonna have one of those or both of those with me if I'm going to go out on this call. Okay. If I have the auto lighting, the express light on, okay, it's held for 30 seconds or longer. The touch button is out of order, and an object is it's usually what it is not an object is on the touch button. Usually what has happened is the customer has actually sprayed directly onto the board, not the board, the display, they took and sprayed directly onto the display, and now the display thinks that it has an issue. The problem is it's gotten in between the layers, and you're probably going to have to replace the touchpad. Okay, so the touchpad is probably going to be bad. All right, if I have the auto light, the normal light, and the express light all on, this comes on when the communications between the main PCB and the sub PCB fails for 20 seconds. Okay, the main PCB or the sub PCB is not working and is probably going to have to be replaced. Okay, the communication connections for the main PCB or the sub PCB is not connected. So the one thing that I can do is I can go and I can look and make sure that all of these wires are connected properly. I'm probably going to disconnect it. I'm going to make sure that all of those wires are pressed in to the Mulinex, and I'm going to put it back on, and I'm going to make sure that that works. Okay, so auto mode configuration. While the door is open, press the power button with the auto button and the express button pressed down within 3 seconds after you turn it off. Okay, all lights will flash during the auto mode. All keys except the power key are deactivated. Okay, when the test is running, the indicator LED will recycle to the express, heavy, normal, and all auto LED. Okay, so I'm going to, at that point, once that does that and I'll see that, I'm going to close the door. Okay, the display board open. Okay, the board code auto normal will be on and the heavy display will be off. The other for the first is displaying the main conversion, which is normal, auto, our own express and LED will be on. Okay. So the mode step. Okay. Turn the fan on, turn it off after 10 seconds. Turn the water inlet on for 54 seconds, and then it'll turn off. Okay. The turbidity sensor, if this one has it, okay, will be on, and the LED indicators will be on. Okay. So this is for the Samsung units that actually have failure codes. So when you open the door, it has a little box that has the minutes in it. Okay. This will give me, if I have a problem with a Samsung dishwasher and it has this display, I'm going to get a 1E, which is a clogged water filter. Okay. So the water is not making it through the filter. I'm going to clean the filter and be done. Okay. If I get a 3C, the pump operation is not working properly. Usually, if I get a 3C, I'm going to get another code to go with it. Okay. If I could get a 3E, which is the high temperature supply area, and it's telling me that the water's too hot. It hasn't whenever it comes on, the heater hasn't shut off. Okay, that usually is caused because the PCB board is bad. Okay, so what I just told you was there's going to be 2 errors. Okay, with this 3C. Usually you're going to get a 5C, could be an SC or 5E or an SE. Okay, that's usually where the dishwasher can't drain. It won't drain. Okay, if I have a 4C or a 4E, I have a water supply area. Okay, I'm not getting the correct pressures. You may run into this. If this unit is on a reverse osmosis system, you are going to get this failure code. Okay. So if I get the 5C, I'm going to inspect the dishwasher's drain connection at the sink. I'm going to check the drain hose. I'm going to run the water in the sink that the dishwasher is Excuse me, I was just about to sneeze. I'm going to run water into the sink that the dishwasher is connected to. I'm going to clean the drain and the filter and the sump in the tub. Okay, that's my error codes for this. Okay, if I get a 7E, it's a water reflector error. Okay, the reflector is not able to detect anything correctly. Okay, so like I said, if you've recently unboxed the dishwasher, if it's a brand new install, it could be packaging tape that has to be removed from the water wall reflector. Okay, so that it can move. Check that the reflector is installed in the correct position, is not blocked. If I get a 9E, okay, that's a low water level error. That's telling me that I'm not getting enough water into the dishwasher, and I'm going to have to adjust that. You can do that through the board normally. So I'm going to empty the dishwasher, add detergent, and then run in the normal cycle just to double check it whenever I think that I have the proper amount of water coming in. If I have an AP error, it's the dishwasher is in the access point mode to assist with connecting to a mobile device. Okay, so Samsung is great for having their own little app, and you're going to get an AP if the customer forgot and left it in it trying to get it connected. Okay, this will actually, the customer can actually, if they have it and if they use it and they have it on their phone, then they can actually tell you what the error code is, which is great. But you'll also get that code if the customer leaves it in it and doesn't disconnect from it. Okay, if I get a BE or a 6E, okay, I have a button error. Okay, so like it says, turn it off, turn off the dishwasher, touch every button in the panel. Okay, if I get a communication error, the control panel is unable to communicate with the rest of the dishwasher. Turn off the dishwasher, try to start it again. If not, I'm going to have to go down and I'm going to have to go and check all of my wiring going in from the board to all the other components, because it's sensing that everything is haywire. Okay. If I get a high temperature error, which is an HC or a 1E, okay, the temperature inside the dishwasher is too hot. Okay, switch the power to the dishwasher off, then do it again turn after 30 seconds. I always wait a minute. It says 30, but I'll wait a minute. It's up to you. Do whatever it works for you. Okay, I'm going to after 30 seconds to a minute, I'm going to turn it back on at the circuit breaker, empty the dishwasher, fill the detergent drawer, and then start the normal cycle. Okay, HE, okay, means that. Oops, excuse me. Sorry about that. HE is a heater element. Oh, look at that. It's telling me that the temperature inside the dishwasher is not sensing the temperature inside the dishwasher correctly. Okay, so this one tells me that I need to go and I need to check my thermistor. Okay, LC and LE. Okay, the dishwasher's leak sensor detects moisture. Okay, if I have something and the customer is telling me that my unit comes on in the middle of the night, that's the first place that I'm going to go. Okay, because I'm either going to get an LC or a LE error, and that's going to tell me that I have a problem, and at that time I'm going to need to disconnect. I'm going to have to pull that dishwasher out very carefully. I'm going to use something to pull it out with. I'm going to use I used to have a piece of Formica that I could pull it out with. I would never do anything but use something that I've got to protect my customer's home. And then I'm going to at that point I'm going to have to flip it on the side. We're going to get to that in a little bit, okay? But I'm going to have to go down, and I'm going to have to, whenever I pull the dishwasher out, first thing I'm going to try to do is look to see if I can tell where the dishwasher could have a leak from. It could be that sensor is bad. I have had them go bad. Most of the time, the sensor's working, and it's telling me that I have a drip somewhere, and it takes it, however long, and that unit will come on, and that sensor triggers it to put it into a pump. Okay. Like I said, this one, the LCLE, the dishwasher will turn itself on and will not turn off. During this time, it will attempt to drain the water away. Okay. Once it drains all the way, it usually will revert back to the system, and it will allow it to determine and keep on going. But I will get this LCLE error if I go and check it. Okay. If you've recently moved the dishwasher, it may have splashed against the sensor. I wouldn't. Customers aren't going to be moving their dishwasher left and right. Okay, they're not going to be pulling it out and putting it back in. That's not going to happen. So that's usually not going to happen. But if I've just had somebody work on it and I get this error, or the customer tells me that it's coming on in the middle of the night, I'm going to check all of my connections. I'm going to check my water connection coming into the dishwasher. I'm going to check my pump, my sump. I'm going to check my hose that goes to the pump. I'm going to check all of that and make sure that I actually have no leaks, because that could be your problem. Okay. One of the other things that happens rarely, if something happens, okay, you could have the detergent cup and they could have overfilled it. I had a customer at one time that didn't think that it was good to put dishwashing liquid in regular powdered dishwashing what am I looking for? Is to get the powdered dishwasher stuff. This lady actually would put dishwashing liquid like you wash dishes with whenever you're washing dishes in the sink in hers. It would cause it to overfill, over suds, and I always had problems with this customer. Okay, and you're always going to have if you have a customer like that. Okay, if I get an OC or a 0C error, okay, I'm going to inspect the dishwasher drain hose connection. I'm going to check the drain hose itself. I'm going to run water to the sink that the dishwasher is connected to. I'm going to clean the drain, the filter, and the sump to the tub. If I get a PC error, okay, I have that's a wash zone error. The wash zone function is not operating properly. I'm going to turn the cycle off, then try to start the cycle again. If I get the same error again, I'm going to have to disassemble the wash zone. We're going to go through that at the end on how to do that. Okay. PE is a half load function error. Some of the Samsung dishwashers, I can wash either the top rack or the bottom rack. And I can only, if I only had, one of the things that I liked about this Samsung dishwasher that I had at my old house was that I could wash the top rack. So if I just had glass cups, plastics, I could wash just the top rack. I didn't have to wash the whole thing. So that was really nice. Okay. That's my half function error. Okay. If I have a TE, my temperature sensor is has gone wonky on me. Okay, so the temperature inside the dishwasher is being detected incorrectly. I'll spit that out in a minute. Easy for me to say. So I'm going to add I'm going to empty the dishwasher. I'm going to add detergent, and I'm going to run the normal cycle, and I'm going to see if that takes care of my issue. If not, I'm going to have to go and check the temperature sensor. Okay. One thing I can tell you is whenever you try to use their wiring schematics and blow it up, you cannot read it. Okay. This is the main PCB board. This is what's connected to the main PCB board. I'm sorry that I tried to get it as best that I could to get it so that you could read it. Okay. So here's the PCB board. This is, if you look right here, this is how it runs. You have the CN, excuse me, you have the CN01 Molenex plug. You have this, then from at the top, moving from left to right, I have the CN02 plug. What does that do? It's my wash indicator, my washing motor. I'm sorry, my drain motor, my washing motor, and then I have normally common, normally common, normally common on the next three plugs. Okay, the CN9. Okay, if you look, that's right in the center. Okay, that's my DC fan motor. That's my ground, and that's 12-volt DC. So out of those three plugs, that's what I'm going to find. If I get to the CN6, that's my door, my water valve, and a 12-volt plug. Okay, my CN5 is the door and the dispenser that's going to come on. Like I said, you just go through. This will be readily available to you on the internet site. Okay, here it is again. This is my connectors, and showing you exactly what they are. It's a little bit different view. Shows that my connector number 1 is the one right there. My connector number 2, and it tells me what is right here. So this is my main input PCB. To the PCB is connector number 1. Number 2 is the drain connector and the washing motor. That's the number 2 connector. So I can go through and find whenever I determine my fault code, I can come in here, and if I need to, I can go and check each one of those to find out exactly what I've got. Like if you go down here, the number 3 is the connector for the heater. So if I'm having a heater issue, if I've got that heater fault code, I'm going to go directly number 3, and I'm going to check my outputs. Okay. It's easy. The easiest thing to remember is if I have power in, which would be connector number 1, and if I have power out, which would in the case be in the heater, that would be connector number 3. If I have power coming in on power on 1, and if I have power coming out on number 3, I know for a fact that I got a bad heater. Okay. Here it is again. Same thing. Like I said, this is a little bit different, but it's just as bad. One thing that I can tell you is whenever I work for Samsung, this black, blue, brown, green, purple wires, there was nothing. It was either black or orange. So everything, this has gotten a whole lot better. Here's another view of the PCB and the sub PCB. Oh, look at that. I put this in here twice. Sorry about that. Okay. So I'm going to, whenever I get ready, I'm going to check the operation of the door switch. I'm going to make sure that it's locked when the dishwasher is running, and that the dishwasher stops when the door is open. Okay. These are my basic tests that I'm going to look at. Okay. Inspect that any part of the authenticated replacement, Samsung replacement part, and if it's not authentic, replace it. One thing that I can tell you is that Samsung has come to Encompass and said, we want you to supply all of our parts. So whenever you order a part for Samsung, you're going to end up spending more time because you're going to get it from Encompass and then it comes to Samsung. So just remember that, okay? Check all wires to ensure that they are not loose or tight. What too tight means, I have no idea. That was a Kringlish thing, which is the combination between Korean and English. Okay, but you got to make sure that all of the wires are pushed in. Not only that, you have to make sure that Molenex plug. I had an old Samsung dishwasher that the flood sensor switch was, the guy that before me wanted me to hot wire it, so you wire it directly to it, and I said no. What I did is I took my zip tie, I zip tied it tight. I have a zip tie. I have a thing to tighten all the zip ties so it gets tight properly. So I zip tied it, tightened it down, clipped it, and I never had any problems with that customer again. Okay. So that's what I did. One of the other things whenever we're talking about the flood sensor, okay, I'm going to have to look at the screws that come through the wall and make sure that I've got those tight. Number one. Number two, if this thing is probably 3, 4, 5 years old, I'm going to check because there's a little rubber gasket. Excuse me. If that rubber gasket could have that gone through that screw, and within pushing in that dishwasher, you could have a leak that is causing that flood sensor to trip. Okay. Ensure there's no water from the hose connector, the door, the sump case, the drain motor, circulation motor, the heater, thermistor, turbidity sensor, distributor motor, and that this water supply drain hoses are all good. Okay. The one that you normally find bad is the supply hose that supplies the water. If somebody tightens it too tight, you can actually cause the break, and it won't seal. After a little while, you're going to start to see a drop every once in a while. So that could be your problem. I did have a customer that got shocked. The reason it got shocked was whenever they pulled the wire that went through the side and plugged up underneath the sink, it actually they were getting a shock because it had grounded whenever they touched the sink and touched the dishwasher. It completed the circuit, and they got shocked. Okay, so always be careful and check for that. Okay, we're going to check for damage to the power cable if that happens. I'm going to take them, and I'm probably going to pull it out and look for it. Okay. The number one thing about a Samsung dishwasher in the upper models, you have got to have it not properly leveled. It has got to be perfectly leveled. Okay. If it is not perfectly level, you will have all kinds of problems. Okay. You have got to level it front to back and side to side. Make sure that you do that for every dishwasher. Okay. Okay. So we're starting to talk about exactly some things. Okay. Here's one of the problems. Loud noise in the pump you get these all the time. It can be anything from glass. I found a piece of a nut, stainless steel nut that actually came off of a pot because it was a high-end pot, and didn't know it, but it had lost that. So you're going to find all kinds of little things in there. Straws. I found straws in them. So if I have loud noise in the pump, I'm going to have to turn off the power, I'm going to have to uninstall the dishwasher. Once again, uninstalling the dishwasher means that I am going to have to put my floor covering down so that I can pull the dishwasher out. Now, I will tell you right now, if somebody has had the dishwasher installed and then they came in and laid the flooring after they had the dishwasher installed, this is going to be your total nightmare. I had one that was exactly that way, and I actually had to go and buy some more feet so that I could cut the feet. All right, I had to cut the feet off so that I could get the dishwasher out. The only other thing that you could have done is raise the whole countertop, and the countertop was not a Formica. It was not a Formica countertop. It was a granite countertop, and it was about 30 feet long, and it had the sink in it, and I wasn't going to do that. Okay, that's a call that you have to make with the customer. That's one of those that you come in and you show the customer what the problem is, and you have to say, I'm going to have to come back. I'm going to have to charge you more. This is not a normal instance. I have got to cover myself because, I mean, it's a nightmare. All right. So as I go to remove it and I install the dishwasher, I've removed the 2 screws at the top. Once again, you have to know if it's a Formica countertop and you can just put screws in it, or if it actually has the granite countertop and they had to be drilled. So be very careful whenever you're doing this so that you don't have problems yourself. I have seen them where somebody has taken and used Gorilla Glue and tried to Gorilla Glue the top. So it was not good. Okay. So after I do that, I'm going to pull the rack out. Okay. I'm going to note, okay, the location of the top rack. A lot of these dishwashers, I can adjust the rack up and down. Okay. I have to know what that is. Okay. I'm going to lift out that rack. I'm going to disassemble the rack itself, pull it out. I'm going to then go to the lower dishwasher rack, and I'm going to just slide it out, put it on the floor. I make sure that I haven't damaged anything into the customer's home. Once I've done that, I use a Phillips head screwdriver to remove the screws securing the bottom access panel. Okay, I'm going to pull the panel forward, disconnect the lead wire sensor. Okay, I'm going to disconnect the flood sensor harness. Okay, I'm going to remove the lower panel. I'm going to find the pump and depress the clip on the side of the clip on the pump. It's shown right there. Whenever I change the program to fit this one, it messed it up. So if you use it in a normal thing, you're going to get the right way. Okay. I'm going to remove that lower panel, find the pump. I'm going to depress that clip on the side of the pump. I'm going to twist it off counterclockwise, making sure that you have towels to catch the water from the pump. You are going to get water. I always carried a bucket with towels. Okay. Whether I'm working on a washer or whether I am working on a dishwasher, I always had towels. Okay, I'm gonna look at it whenever I undo it. I'm gonna make sure that the impeller in the pump is good. If something happens and that impeller has broken or has a chunk missing out of the impeller itself, I'm gonna have to replace the whole pump. Okay. But what I'm going to do, if I find normally like I used to, you found all kinds of little garbage in the pump, I would then just remove it. I'm going to check it and make sure that twist it back in clockwise, and then I'm going to reinstall it, and I'm all set. Okay, that's for a loud noise in the pump. Okay. This is my thermistor. Okay. This is something very, very that you have to know whenever I get there. If I get there and I have a bad thermistor, I need to know what the temperature is. I have got to know what my temperature is because I've got to be reading the temperature for let's say I'm looking at what am I looking at? Temperature, let's say it's 77 in the house. Okay. So I should have about 10 ohms of resistance. Okay. So I'm going to have 10K ohms at basically at 77 degrees. Okay. If I'm at 104, if I am in the house in Phoenix, Arizona, or where I used to live in Las Vegas, Nevada, if it's 104, I'm going to have 6.9. So remember this, okay? As the temperature decreases, the resistance increases. That's the thing that you need to remember above all. Okay. Again, this is the error codes that we just had been at the first one. Okay. So we had talked about being able to take the wash arm out whenever you are first for getting that sensor out. If I'm going to have to remove this wash arm assembly, this is how I properly disassemble it. Okay. Once again, I turn off power to the dishwasher, turn off the water to the dishwasher. I open the door, pull out the top rack. Okay. Noting where the top rack is located. If you look at this rack right here, you can see where it is located. Okay. It's not, if you look, there are two different slots that I could put this in. You can actually put it in, and if you put it in on the left side, you could put it in the bottom slot, and you could screw it up and put it in on the top side, and it looks really funny, but you could actually do that, okay? So this is what I meant whenever I said I'm going to pull it out and I'm going to lift it out, okay? So once I do that, I can then slide the lower dishwasher. I can set this to the side and slide out the lower dishwasher rack. Okay. Now, if this is if I'm going to have to replace the wash arm. Okay. So I'm going to detach the water supply tube assembly to the top and the rear brackets. All they do is pop off. Okay. And then that releases the wash arm assembly. I can remove the wash arm assembly. I can transfer if something happens and I have to. The problem you're going to have is mine, I had to replace it because something got in it. I couldn't get it out. So I had to replace the whole wash arm assembly. So this is the procedure that you have to do to replace the wash arm assembly. Okay. I'm going to transfer the wash arm assembly from the old to the new. Okay. I'm going to align the supply tube and install the rear and top brackets. Okay. I'm going to snap everything into place. I'm going to install the top rack in the same location as it was whenever you removed it. I'm going to install the bottom rack, and I've done it all. Okay. To replace the pump. Excuse me. To replace the pump, you're going to have to follow these procedures, okay? Pull the lower wash arm to detach the now this is the motor that the motor houses. This is the pump that has the wash motor, okay? So I'm going to pull the lower wash arm, detach the wash arm, uninstall the dishwasher, remove the toe plate, do all of that. Remove the screw from the junction box, remove the wire nuts and from the wires, disconnect the stain relief pump, removing it from the power supply to the unit. I'm going to disconnect the drain hose from in place where it goes. Okay, I'm going to open the dishwasher door, remove the mounting screws, You have to adjust the legs to remove the dishwasher 9 times out of 10. The rear legs can be lowered by using a 9/16 hex screw. One thing that I liked about it was you could adjust the bottom with a 9/64 hex screw. Okay. Place the protection down, remove the dishwasher. Okay. Here it is in the visual. What I just showed you is how to do it using just the wording. Here it is right here. Okay. This is the way that you have to do it. Okay. So this is exactly what I just went through before. So just be sure that this is the picture version of it. Some of us learn better with words. Some of us look better with words and pictures. Okay. I'm the picture and word guy. Okay. So if I'm going to have to replace, all right, the water inlet, okay, this is the procedure that I have to do to replace the water inlet. Okay. I will tell you that these are a German clamp. They are not an American screw clamp. Okay. You're going to have to be very careful whenever you're pulling them off. You're going to have to take I always disconnect. I always did this whole procedure. And then I went and disconnected the hoses. Okay. So I'm going to make sure to disconnect the power again. I'm going to turn off the water supply. I'm going to remove the upper and lower baskets. I'm going to pull out the dishwasher carefully. I'm going to remove the 2 clamps. Okay. Because you can easily damage them. You actually damage the hoses. Okay. The water remaining in the water inlet and connecting hoses will come out. Lay down a towel in the floor. We've already talked about this. If I'm going to do this, I've got to bring my mop bucket and my clothes and my towels with me. Okay. Once I disconnect all of that, I can now remove the the water inlet. Okay. So if I'm going to remove the base cover, now this is the leak sensor that I was discussing right here. Okay. It has the leak sensor is right there. You just take it off. But what I've got to do is if I'm going to have to take this base cover off, if I'm going to have to replace the motor, I've got to take this base cover all the way off. Okay, so we're gonna, like I said, make sure to disconnect the power, remove the upper and lower baskets, pull the dishwasher out carefully, remove the water supply, inlet line, and lay the dishwasher down on its back. I'm going to remove the screw that's shown right there. I'm going to press on and pull down the 4 fixture hooks. You can see the fixture hooks. I have circled them and pressed where you're going to have to do that. The base cover. Okay, I'm going to hold it and pull it out. After I do that, I can remove the leakage sensor. Okay, I'm going to press the two fixture blocks. I can tell you that the new one is better than the old one. If you get one of these old ones, you have to do all of this. The newer one, the old one is on this model right here is not as good as the new one. The new one, I can actually take a screw out and I can get to this base cover. Okay. Here's our water going into the drain. This is if I know that I'm going to have to replace this flood sensor. Okay. This is what I've got to do. Okay. I'm going to check the flood sensor. The first thing I can do is ohm it out. Okay. I can ohm it out to tell me if it's any good. Okay. I've got to look around and make sure that I have no water that this flood sensor is detecting. Okay. But this is where I was talking about you had to replace. It's got like 3 clips and a screw. The new one, you take one, you got one screw that you can, and then you can unsnap it. I'm sorry, on the new one, it doesn't have the screw. It's just got the snaps. So you can snap it out and not have to have your thing, but it's not that big of a deal. All right. I'm going to check the flood sensor. Like I said, I'm going to make sure I got no water. If I've got water, then I'm going to have to dry the flood sensor out probably to so that it doesn't detect that there's actually water. I'm going to open, but if I have to replace it, this is the procedure that I have to do to replace it. The first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to look for evidence of a leak. Okay, that's the first thing that I'm going to do before I do anything else. This one, I showed you where there was a leak. Okay, the next thing I need to do is figure out where that leak is and repair that leak before I go any farther. Because if I don't repair the leak, I'm throwing good money to bad. It's not going to fix anything. I'm going to be back out there in another week, and I'm going to have the same problem. Okay, so make sure that you fix the issue that you have. Okay, once I do that, I'm gonna pull out the top rack. I'm going to lift the rack out. I'm going to slide the lower dishwasher rack out, move those. I'm going to use a Phillips head screw to remove the screws securing the bottom access panel. Okay, I'm going to pull the panel forward, disconnect the lead sensor wire. I'm going to disconnect this flood sensor harness. That's a Mullinex plug. Okay, I'm going to remove the lower panel, look for evidence of the leak that I just showed you. But I try to make sure that I can look as I'm going through to make sure that I can look and make sure that I've got that. Okay. This flood sensor is held on with two screws, one on both ends, one on each end. So after I do that and I disconnect that, I can do everything that I need to do to get this flood sensor taken care of. Okay. I'm going to put everything back together, just the opposite of what I just did. Okay. This unit comes with a pump assembly that I actually, it has a little micro that's not supposed to let a whole lot of stuff through. I will tell you that it's better than it was intended. It's not as good as it was intended to be. Okay. So if I'm gonna have to check any of this, I'm gonna have to rotate the filter cup. All right. And pull the filter out. Okay. I'm going to then remove the fine filter. I can remove that clip so that I can remove the micro filter. Okay. I can take and clean that micro filter. That's going to give me one or two of the error codes that we've already been over. So I'm going to check all of this and go through that to make sure that I have that the sensors are working properly and that I'm not detecting a fault for the drain or I have water in it. Once again, I'm going to have my bucket with my towels, and I'm going to make sure that I get everything cleaned, and I don't get water on the floor of the customer. Okay. So here it is to remove the control panel. Right. Remove the screw securing the inner tab. Release the mounting tabs. You can see them right here. And then detach the door wire from the conduit and lift out the panel. Okay. We've already been through this several times for that. Okay. This is if I'm going to have to remove everything. So we ran over about 9 minutes. I'm going to ask if anybody has any questions. Does anybody have anything that they want to talk about with a Samsung dishwasher? Put it in the tab. You can always text me. Don't call me, text me, because my phone, I get a whole lot of spam calls and non-calls relating to relating to what any of my business. So I've got a spam caller ID set up, and if it doesn't recognize you, then it doesn't allow it to come through. But text me. I can definitely receive a text. I will text you back. Okay. If you can always email me. My email is right scrolling across the bottom. Okay. You've got Reggie that's there. He's got his phone number. Like Reggie always says, lean on your rep. And you can, like I'd already said about downloading the Easy Stock, you can do that from either your Apple app or Google Play. Does anybody have any questions? Guys, thank you very much. You have a wonderful afternoon. Enjoy the rest of your afternoon. And we'll see you on Tuesday at 9 a.m. hopefully. We'll see you later. Thanks.